You're listening to Meeple, uniting players from around the world. I'm PJ, and with me as always is Gareth. And today is episode 12, so thanks for listening. Today we're going to talk about grab your pens, 5 roll and writes to hit your next game night. Gareth, how are you?
I'm doing well. And after the last episode talking about Twilight Inscription, that epic roll and write game, I'm looking forward to talking about 5 other awesome roll and write games that most people should get to their table straight away.
I think they may already own them, probably.
Yeah, there's some popular ones in here. Let's see how we get on.
They won't take over an hour. At least we hope not,
we
right?
hope not. So I think we're going to do a classic. You've got 2, I've got 2, and then we're going to talk one between us, a shared one. So 2 plus 2 plus 1. So why don't you start with your first recommendation?
So we're going to talk about Welcome to. I know a lot of people love this game. It's got lots of different expansions to it. By Blue Cocker. What? Deep Water Games. Blue Cocker. I never noticed that on the box before. That's interesting. Benoit Turpin was the designer. This one, so what I love about this game, and it's printed on the box, so it's for 10 and up ages, 25 minutes tops, unless you were at my house last night. It was not 25 minutes, I'm afraid. But it says player count is 1 to 100. And that was why I was really interested when we first picked that game up. So I guess it's technically what we call flip and write, not a roll and write. There's no dice.
Mm-hmm.
But we also upgraded. We got a nice little neoprene mat that you lay out in front of you. And you've got a pad, and it's 3 streets. It's like a neighborhood. We call them subdivisions here. Is there a special name for?
I think we just call it for streets in a neighborhood.
In a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a neighborhood of sorts. It's got 3 streets. The first street has 10 houses. The second has 13, and the third one has 15. And so you've got these decks of cards, 3 decks of cards, and there's a number from 1 to 15, and then a corresponding action. There's like a picture of a fence, and there you would draw a fence between 2 homes. And then you're trying to create estates, right? Which is you're linking multiple homes together that are fenced in to create an estate, like a 2-house estate, a 3, a 4, or 5-house estate. And you've got city plans that are kind of, public objectives, as you were. The first person to score whatever the city plan is will get the most points, and then everyone after that will still get points, but smaller portions. And so you just flip the cards and then everyone just writes on their piece of paper or dry erase mat if you decide to upgrade it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just keep doing that. And we do that simultaneously. When everyone's done, then we flip the 3 decks over, 1 card at a time, revealing a new set of numbers, and you pick one, right? So you pick a number and its corresponding action. So, if it's 1 with a fence, 3 with a park, because each street has like numbers of parks on them that you would fill in for points, and say 15 with an real estate value that there's a little chart at the bottom you fill in. You can't pick the 1 and the real estate value. You've got to pick the 1 and the fence, or the 3 and the park. So, they're paired together. And you can do that. The other caveat that makes it more strategic is that for each street, the addresses, the numbers that you're flipping over, you're going to write them on the houses to give them addresses. They have to go in ascending order. So if you decide to put the 9 in the middle, and then you fill out 10 and 11, so there's no more to the right. If you roll, if a number comes up that's too high, you can't place it. They've got to be in order from left to right per street, right? And if there's 3 times, you cannot use any of the numbers. then you fill in a little dot. And once you fill in all three, the game ends. Once someone completes all three public city plans, the game ends. Once someone has completely filled out their sheet, the game ends. And then you just tally up the score at the bottom. There's like a little, there's pools. Some of the houses have pools, and you can give it, you circle the pool, then you scratch the number out, and then you'll get whatever score for pools. It's a delightful game. We taught it to some friends last night. Last night was our roll and write game night at the house in anticipation of this game. So we played Welcome To. We taught it to some friends who came over. So the first game took almost an hour.
Wow.
I think that's because there was a little discrepancy in interpretation of rules.
A reteach.
Yeah, so the teaching was responsible for that. But we played it a second time, and I think it hit the 25 mark.
Nice.
25-minute mark. So yeah, that's great. A lot of people have it. Welcome To. They also have like a Halloween, since Halloween is coming up. They've got you can buy a deck of a notepad. It's the same thing, the streets and everything, but it'll add an additional action for like Halloween trick-or-treaters. I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. But then they do it for Christmas. They have one for Easter. They have one for the summertime. Yeah, so that's worth checking out. It's Welcome To by Deepwater Games. They do a lot of flipping rights.
Yeah, there's some good games. I think the Halloween one, you're collecting candy from memory. Those kind of teeth-looking corn candy. Yes. Between the houses. But yeah, and this is like a 1.8 out of 5 complexity, so it's a very accessible roll and write, so it's a good choice.
As long as you teach it properly.
Flip and write.
If there's no confusion in the rules, you can run through it pretty quickly. We would have gotten it done much faster.
Yeah, it's popular. Yeah, really popular one. I love teaching it to new gamers as well.
Very, very popular. I know a lot of our listeners already own it, and you see it on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. What do you got on tap?
Well, I guess I was sticking with a heavier roll and write. So I've probably gone for the one just down below from Twilight Inscription, which is Hadrian's Wall. So this is more like a 3.1. So it's like slightly more heavier. Probably the heaviest roll and write people have been talking about before the most recent Twilight Inscription. It's based on constructing Hadrian's Wall. It's for 1 to 6 players, plays in about half an hour to an hour. I'd say that this is awesome solo, definitely a really good solo game. There is a lot of solitaire. There isn't too much activity between players. So for speed, I'd say probably 1 to 3. We play this game quite a lot, 2 players. But just like Twilight Inscription in terms of multiple player boards, this has got 2, and again, when you first look at the 2 sheets, you put them side by side, it's like, wow, there are so many icons. But like all these games, once someone has kindly run you through the rules and explained how this works, it's relatively easy. You start the game with 12 cards all the same. You shuffle them, and each round you draw 2. On the bottom of a card is like a personal objective, which you can choose, and the other card will be used to give you some resources for this turn. And then there's a card called Fate Cards in the middle of the gaming area that everyone gets to see, and on there will be a mixture of the resources you can have. So there's bits of bits of stone, which is a resource, and then there's 4 types of characters that you can use in the game, which you can allocate across these boards. So everything from soldiers, builders, servants, and civilians. So there's black, blue, purple, and yellow. And on the board, you'll see places where you can cross off this kind of thing. So you can spend, for example, the stone to build the wall. You can send your servants out to gather wood and start to build fencing. You can go and build granaries, you can increase your workshops, and then you can spend a lot of victory points across various scoring mechanics to increase your wealth. And that's the left-hand side of the board. On the right-hand side of the right player match, should I say, you're spending your citizens or your people to, for example, trade, to perform at the theatre, to pray at the temples, to go to the baths and courthouses to influence each other, or to go out and be diplomatic and scout around the area. All of those, and there's about 10, 12 locations, are all different mechanics, from crossing things out to gathering more resources, to things you can only do once a round, to multiple rounds. When you start the game, you're really only doing sort of 5 or 6 things. By the time you get to round 6, you have got so many different characters to allocate that you are just putting combos down upon combos, and that's a satisfying part. I highly recommend Hadrian's Wall. I say when you first see it, you're going to think like, man, this is complex, but actually it's highly worth investing a little bit of time to understand how the game plays through, because it's incredibly satisfying. The only, I guess, interaction is every round. You've got barbarians. Yeah, I think it's barbarians or somebody. It's probably the Celts invading, and you need to make sure you've built your cohorts from left, right, and centre. And everyone has that. And if you haven't defended with your walls, you get negative points. So you always got this bit of pressure. Have you built the wall in the right place? Are they going to come push through, and are you going to get negative points? But it's really nice, top quality. It's produced by Garfield Games. It's the artwork's by Sam Phillips, so Shem Phillips' brother. So if you've seen any more recent Garfield games, you'll know the artwork style. But highly recommended. Have you played? I assume you have. A lot of players I know have played this one.
Oh, absolutely. This game is great on multiple levels. I think the reason you chose it is because not only is it a flip and write, it is also a worker placement.
Yeah. I mean, you are allocating people everywhere.
You really are.
Yeah. I still don't think I've nailed. Every time I play, I try a different technique to try and squeeze out as many points as possible.
So since you chose Hadrian's Wall, I'm going to give you a bit of history.
Go for it.
Right. Okay. So Hadrian arrives in Britannia in 122, right? So that's AD. But before that, Julius Caesar, right? So we're talking like the 60s to 40s BC, right? So when he goes to Gaul, which is modern day France, right? And he writes his epic Gallic War, where his whole account of the invasion, including Britannia. The opening lines, it's all of Gaul is divided into 3 parts, and then he outlines who's where. He also says, because you mentioned the Celts, he's like, the people in this land are called in our language, that's the Romans or Latin, we call them Gauls, but in their language, the Celts. So that is where my mind went when you said the Celts invading.
Yeah, I couldn't quite remember.
Julius Caesar, the Gauls and the Celts.
You know what I mean.
I know.
I'm going to get a rule book now, and I'm going to go and check.
Any opportunity to
correct history,
spread Julius Caesar knowledge around, I'll do that when I can. So, stretch that muscle. But that's enough of that.
Yeah, it's
So my next, I picked another flip and write. I think we only have one roll in it. or maybe 2 roll and writes in the whole episode, but I picked Cartographers, which is another fan favorite. Everyone loves it. We were late to the game, right? So Cartographers came out, and it's by Thunderworks Game, and it's set within the world of Role Player, right? Where Role Player is you're rolling dice and you're creating a character, a D&D type character. So it's set in the same world. And then there was a Kickstarter, and there's all these expansions and a big box. So basically my wife and I have been building it piecemeal at a time via retail, right? So we picked up Cartographers and played it. Later on, we picked up the Heroes expansion and played it, and then we started getting all the new notepads and expansions and promo cards and everything like that. I think the appeal to both of us about Cartographers is that so you've got your pad in front of you is like a grid with different geographical features. So it's kind of like what you're doing is you are a cartographer and you are mapping a dungeon for the dungeon crawl, right? So in Role Player, the game is creating a character. And then in Cartographers, you're mapping the dungeon that your character would crawl through, right? That's kind of the very, very broad stroke premise. But you use, well, we have eventually upgraded, but you can use color pencils because
Beautiful.
each terrain marker has a specific color to it, and it's a lot easier visually than trying to write with the pencil. And they come with just, your regular pencils, but you can upgrade them to color pencils. At first, we got a pack of Crayola, but then when we were at Gen Con, at Thunderworks booth, we bought the neoprene mat that you lay out in front so you can put all the cards there.
Nice.
And then we upgraded, like, these are color pencils specific to Cartographers, and it has Cartographers printed on the outside of the pencils, and the colors are specific. So it's the specific red and yellow and purple that matches the colors used in the game and the cards. So that's pretty cool. So you have you have 4 seasons and you've got 4 public objectives. You're trying to shape kind of Tetris-y. So you'll flip a card and it'll say farms, and that's going to be your yellow, right? And then at the bottom of the card, it tells you the shape that you can shade in with the color corresponding to the terrain type on your mat. And that's just a lot of fun. Because we're not just writing. We're not using dry erase or chalk. Although the chalk pens from Twilight Inscription are epic, you certainly can't use them in this game. You're going to need the color pencils.
But you can dry the chalk pens in about 15, 20 colours.
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
I'll be there. I'm going to buy the whole set. Sorry.
No, that's cool. But yeah, Cartographers is great. It's another popular one. Shouldn't take more than 30 minutes at 4 players. We can usually squeeze in a 2-player game in no time. It's also 1 to 100 players printed on there, ages 10 plus. It says 30 to 45 minutes, and I think that's pretty.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it's one of those games I find really good mindfulness. Because I find I'm kind of doing my own thing. I know there's a bit where you're rotating with the monsters.
Right, there is. Like when you're in a season, your deck of cards, if you flip over a monster, then you hand your card to your neighbor to your right or left. There's an arrow on the card, so you correspond it. And they will take the purple pencil and they will draw the monster on your map.
Oh, it pains me. Because you're trying to make a beautiful world. We've got like a roll of 100 file liners of different colours. And everyone's at the table concentrating. They're all grabbing different colours with the fine liners, doing their map. And then when you hand it round, it's like, please do not destroy this piece of art. And then there's this stupid little monster drawn in a really inconvenient place that ruins everything. But it's a great choice.
Luckily, there are heroes that can combat those monsters if you draw them. They don't always appear either, but yeah, we played that. I think that one was more popular than Welcome To because we played them both last night. And I think it's because we failed the Welcome To teach.
Yeah, messed that one up.
But yeah, Cartographers is great. I forgot how good it was until we played.
Yeah, it's a good game.
So much replayability with the expansions because there's so many different maps, right? The underworld or the volcano that'll erupt and destroy your beautiful artwork. Or, lots of challenges. It's epic. So, Cartographers, a role-player tale. So what do you have on deck, Seth?
So my last one of my own selection is a game that I picked up about, I think it's earlier this year. I can't quite remember. It's called Long Shot, the dice game. So it's this is a roll. We have dice for once out of our roll and write. This is a dice rolling, horse betting, crazy race around a racetrack. There are 8 horses in the game. There's multiple different sets of horses with different powers. But you're basically each turn you'll roll the dice, and everyone will use that die to do something on their player board. So on your kind of, I guess it's your betting sheet. You've got you can cross off the horse's numbers, and if you get things in a row, you get some bonuses. You can decide who whose jacket you're going to sponsor or helmet you're going to sponsor, or you can put your bets down and you start the game with I think about 20 money off my head. $12 you start with, and you can invest that money on each horse. Each horse has got different odds, and when you roll a dice, it'll be a coloured number and a colour and a number, and you'll move that horse. Let's say blue moves 3 spaces forward or 2 spaces forward. Every horse also influences other horses, and maybe the blue horse influences the green and the red, and they always move forward 1 space. And you can influence other horses to do the same. So it is random. I mean, you think the horse is going to win, and people can spend their super bonuses from the kind of bingo card section where you're crossing off the numbers to move horses backward. And eventually you'll get around 3/4 of the course. And in that zone, you can't do much messing about. And you've got to get 3 horses crossing the line. If the first horse that crosses the line is worth, I don't know, about $20, $30. Second and third, you can buy the horses, which means you get the money at the end of the game. But we play this 8-player, and it's a lot of fun. It's 1 to 8. I'd say it plays best sort of 4 to 6. In fact, 8 players has been a brilliant game. Again, 25 minutes. It is chaotic, but everyone is engaged. There's no real downtime because every roll you are doing something on your board, and you're looking to see who is doing what to which horses. So maybe they need the red horse to win, and your yellow and blue horses out in front, and they move the horses back, and then suddenly the whole board has changed. So if you haven't checked it out, there's a Kickstarter version around. There's a Barnes and Noble, which is where I picked it up from when I was over in the US back at Easter. But managed to pick up the Kickstarter version. It's got a few extra packs of horses in it and promos at the UK Games Expo. But I highly recommend for like a larger group exercise. Have you played it?
No, this is the first time I've heard anything about it. It sounds a lot like Camel Up.
Yeah. It's got that racing element to it. It's Camel. Yeah, I say Camel Up. I think there's a board game called Long Shot, which if I can find out when that was released. That's like 2009.
Okay.
This is a reskin as a dice game. It was a Kickstarter, I think, from last year, launched this year. But it's really nice. If you want a larger player, I mean, you can play it. I mean, it works fine. You can play it solo. So that's worth. I think it's Roland Wrights is the name of the solo player, as in Roland. Which is quite a clever play on words.
Yes.
So it's worth checking out. That would be my again 1.93. So I think the games you've spoken to and that last one for me, a nice easy entry level roll stroke flip or rights for those who are looking for a game they've not tried before.
That's interesting. Cool. Well, thanks for that. It's good. It's good when you introduce me to new games sometimes.
You know you need it.
I mean, that's why we're here, and that sounds great.
Yeah. So for our 2+2+1, I think we're going to go for Rolling Realms.
Rolling Realms, designed by our dear friend. Well, I don't know that he's our dear friend. He might know. Jamie Stegmaier. I think this game is just a testament to his brilliance, right? Like, this was a product of the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, he designed this collectively.
So that he could play with
the audience,
remotely, who were all locked down,
and it was a bit of just a pet project on, I think it was Facebook.
Yeah,
he did it very early in the pandemic, and then I don't know, 12, 18 months later, he shared this as a, and you can still get it now as a print and play, and he actually put it into a full version, and so much so that he's taken it further, and there are now classic promo packs of cards of other people's games.
So the idea is that you have a shared deck of cards, and each card is a realm, but they're all Stonemaier games, right?
Yes, you've got between two castles, between two cities, Charterstone, Euphoria, the Society, which is Red Rising, Scythe, Pendulum, My Little Scythe, Tapestry, Viticulture, and Wingspan, and that's in the box. They're all.
Yep.
I think what amazed me is every card, for example, the Wingspan cards, brings out such a unique element of the full Big Brother board game.
Absolutely.
It's genius, and I love Jamie for how he's brought out that small essence of each game, whether it's set collection or whether you're crossing out things to build up your towers, or how between two cities that card actually is based on the two cards either side of it. But do you want to talk a bit more how the game plays?
Yeah. So so you basically have 2d6, and the game comes with these beautiful,
Oh yeah,
chunky. You can hear them. As I roll them right now, I have a 1 and a 4, Gareth.
Not bad. That's not bad.
No, it's like a marble-ish green and blue, and they're big and chunky. But the beauty is, so you choose someone, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I played. Someone chooses 3, and then we all play the same 3 cards in front of us.
Yes, you'll play 9 cards. You'll play 3. You'll play 3 cards, and then you'll play 3 cards again, and then you play 3 cards again, didn't you?
And the cards themselves are dry erase.
Yeah.
And then it's got these beautiful little dry erase markers that we have. I think that, again, the testament to this game, not only does it have infinite replayability and expansion, because Libertalia, I got the Libertalia card, Terra Mystica. He's got some new ones coming out as he's getting licenses for them, right? The Honeybuzz, Feast of Odin, and then Smitten, which is a new game that he's doing for
Terra Mystica. I think you said that a minute ago.
Terra Mystica, got that.
Oh, and he released Rolling Realms. So it's a set of cards based on. It's so meta. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Rolling Realms card in Rolling Realms. Yeah. Of course there is, right? And Jamie's trying to reach out and get more licensing to expand to more of our favorite board games so that they're featured in this. And Gareth, I believe you and your wife and me and my wife, we actually played this together virtually
over Instagram through DMs. Yeah, I mean, I've taught this to loads of non-gamers, family, friends. We've played it like you say over calls, both through lockdown, but now obviously in a much more normal, stable world, and it works a treat because as long as you've both got the copies of the games, you're just rolling a pair of dice and you read out numbers. Yeah. And then you allocate those dice to the cards that you need to.
It also, I don't know how you felt. I mean, what I really enjoyed about it, I think it was like other than the live that we did with, where I was a guest on Monday Meeple last year. It was the first time that you and I got to
hang out
and see each other. And then our wives were with us too. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it's really sociable. It's a really sociable game. And I think, even if you haven't played any of Jamie's or any of the Stonemaier games, it doesn't matter. On its own, this little card, you've got a little back, you can explain what's happening. If I'm teaching a game new, there's certain cards I'd always start with. Like the Society is really easy to teach because it's just this number should be lower than this number. And I usually teach Scythe last, I think, when I look at the cards in the game right now. So you can step up people's learning, and once they've played them through once, then you can shuffle them all up and very quickly get people going. And every time you play, obviously, the 3 cards, the combination of cards is always different. And that's part of the puzzle itself, is that these 2 cards kind of conflict each other from where I want to put my dice. You gather resources, and you've got another little card where you're gathering coins, and you're gathering what else do you gather? Pumpkins and hearts and and then you can allocate coins, those to duplicate dice numbers or to repeat the number. So
or adjust it up and down.
That's right. Yep. And if you don't spend them, they're all worth 0.1 of a point. So if you've got 10 of them left over, it's another victory point.
Jamie, to make that the most difficult part, is like, okay, so every 10 is a point, basically.
Yeah. But it works a treat. And say if you want to just have a go, the print and play is pretty close to the final version.
It really is.
And you can find those on Stonemeier's homepage. Plus, I say all of these Rolling Realms. And I think if you go onto Board Game Geek and look up Rolling Realms, there are, I'm not going to say hundreds, I'd say tens of gamer designed realms which you can try for free. And some of those I'm sure Jamie has got in the works behind the scenes once he's got licensing agreed. So yeah, it's cracking. I've got the next 3. I ordered them this week as part of the Smitten release. Yeah,
you had to do it.
So
well, Stonemeyer's celebrating their 10th anniversary, and so he's got a lot of specials going on right now. So yeah, it was just a really good deal, and we couldn't pass that up.
Yeah, definitely.
And to expand our rolling realms is just really exciting. So
yeah, in fact, we should get another game in. If anybody fancies a game, let's arrange a game. Just drop us a message.
Absolutely.
I'd happily have a game of Rolling Realms with anybody. It's easy to teach or play if you've got a copy.
Yep. If you have a copy of Rolling Realms, you let us know. We can set up a day. We can do Zoom. We can do whatever. We can figure it out, and it's just a lot of fun. It's another opportunity for us to unite players from around the world, as we are trying to do here. Now, here's a question: did you try? Because it has a solo variant as well.
So I have tried. So it's based on golf, and I've done about 2 holes. So I didn't play a full round. But yeah, this completely abstract game of golf by selecting certain cards and following some rules on another player sheet. Have you played Have you played a full round?
I have not given the solo version a chance yet. I have no idea. I have Roland or Rolando, the board dad. He's given it a go, and I know he finds it very challenging. Although let's be fair, if you've got Redford sitting next to you, I mean,
well, you are going to be distracted. Yeah. So yeah, it's called Solitaire Mini Golf, and there's there's 10 course cards, and it says that this is par 1. You're going to use these 3 realms, and this is a challenge. It just kind of says you can only get 7 turns. You're going to cross out spaces. So it just makes some very specific rules for a set of cards. And there's actually a golf scoring card in the box. So whether you've got par, how difficult they are. So yeah, if you're into solo games, I'd say it's also a really good choice. If you, I guess most roll and rights or flip and rights are great for solo in the main.
Absolutely. So that's Rolling Realms, and again, like this is, I think Gareth and I are being very sincere. Please reach out to us. We'd love to play it with you if you got a copy, because it's just a lot of fun to connect with you, and you can just kind of hang out and have a little chat face to face while playing a game. So
always.
And that's why we're in this hobby, right?
Yeah. In fact, any of those Rolling Realms, any of these games today, I think, apart from Longshot, would work.
I agree.
Yeah, I think
some of them require that you're seated. Where you're seated will impact just a little bit, but not by too much.
We can work that out. Okay, well, I love that episode. I do love I have a bit of a passion for roll and rights, flip and rights. So there are many more. So if you want to hear, I guess, a part 2 in the future, there's plenty of more of these games where these came from.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. As ever, PJ, it's been great to talk about our favourite games.
Fantastic. Love talking to you, my friend.
See you soon.
Okay.
Cheers.
All right, bye.
Bye.